Everyone talks about attraction, but very few truly understand how it works. You've probably heard the usual advice: be nice, be polite, be chivalrous, but those are surface illusions. The truth runs deeper. What makes a woman surrender or turn away isn't what you do on the outside, but how you control perception, how you frame the interaction, how you guide her emotions without her even noticing. Machiavelli wrote that power doesn't come from brute force, but from the ability to lead others to act in your favor without realizing it. That principle built kingdoms, won wars, and destroyed rivals. And it's the same principle that makes women fall, not for the man they see, but for the man they feel they cannot resist. In this video, you'll discover 7 Machiavellian tactics of attraction. Not tricks, weapons. With them, you'll stop chasing, stop begging, and start controlling the pace of every interaction. Each principle shows you how to spark mystery, command respect, and ignite desire, until she's the one competing for your attention. Watch until the end, because once you grasp these laws, you won't just rival other men, you'll rise above them. And from that moment on, your love life will change forever. Let's begin. Here's the first trick every man must master. You must stop oversharing and let silence do the hunting for you. Most men believe that talking more builds attraction. They fill the air with their stories, their problems, their routines, thinking words equal value. But every extra detail kills the fire. Why? Because desire is fueled by mystery, not by explanations. When you give everything away too quickly, her mind shuts down. There's nothing left to discover, nothing to imagine. But when you hold back, when you answer simply and turn the question back to her, you spark a primal itch. She starts chasing the pieces you refuse to give. Machiavelli would have advised, power is not in what you reveal, but in what you conceal. The silence of a prince speaks louder than the speeches of his rivals. The same truth applies here. Your silence is not emptiness. It is a weapon. Imagine this. She asks how your day went. Most men would unload a full monologue. You? You simply say, productive. But tell me about yours. Instantly, she talks more, feels heard, and at the same time, wonders about you. The less you give, the more her mind fills the gaps with curiosity. And curiosity is the seed of obsession. Understand this clearly. Attraction is not created by what you give her. It's created by what you deny. Every question she asks herself about you is a victory. Because as long as she is thinking about you, she cannot escape you. The power is not in your words. The power is in the silence between them. Here's the second trick you cannot ignore. You must control your circle, because women judge you not only by who you are, but by the men who stand beside you. Most men think attraction is only about their own words, their own energy. But the truth is crueler. Her eyes scan your entire world. Your friends, your environment, the people you allow around you. These are all extensions of your value. Think about it. You could be magnetic, mysterious, commanding her attention. And then one friend arrives, bitter, insecure, complaining about his job, his ex, his life. In that moment, the frame collapses. To her, you are no longer the powerful man she felt drawn to. You become guilty by association. If he is your closest ally, what does that say about your standards? About your own hidden weaknesses? Machiavelli would have warned, a prince is not judged by himself, but by the ministers he chooses. Their reputation becomes his with women. The exact same principle rules. She does not only evaluate you, she evaluates the kingdom you've built around you. Here's the brutal reality. A woman of value does not want a man whose court is filled with clowns. She wants a ruler surrounded by men who elevate him, men who reflect strength, ambition, and vision. If your entourage is pessimistic, lazy, or bitter, that poison spills directly onto you. But if you master this law, you flip the script. Walk into a room with allies who dress sharp, carry themselves with confidence and radiate optimism, and you don't even need to speak. Her subconscious already crowns you as valuable, because powerful men attract powerful allies. So here's your move. Become ruthless in shaping your social world. You don't need to cut ties with every weak friend, but you must choose strategically. When you enter high-stakes situations, when you want to conquer desire, only bring men who magnify your image. Let them be the mirrors that multiply your worth. Remember this: she is not just judging you, she is judging the empire you rule. And in her eyes, your empire is you. Here's the third manipulation you must master. Let her believe she has you measured, then vanish when she least expects it. Attractive women live behind walls. They are approached daily by men desperate to prove their value. Men who brag, men who flatter, men who rush to impress. Every gesture of over-eagerness is a warning signal to her instincts. This man needs me more than I need him. And the moment she feels that imbalance, attraction collapses. The solution is brutal in its simplicity. Remove the pressure. Do not try to win. Let her assume you are ordinary. If she teases you, don't defend yourself. Smile and let it slide. If she lectures you on a topic you already know, don't correct her. Let her talk. Each time you refuse to prove yourself, her defenses weaken. She relaxes because she no longer sees a predator circling her. She begins to lean closer, to fill the silence, to invest in the interaction without even realizing it. And it is in that exact moment, when her guard is lowered, when she enjoys your presence, that you withdraw. You end the exchange while her desire is still climbing, not with cold rejection, but with precise control. A calm smile, a steady gaze, and words that close the door just enough to leave it unlocked. I enjoyed this. We'll continue another time. Her brain, wired for pursuit, rebels against the interruption. The pleasure she felt becomes unfinished business. She replays your words. She recalls your smile. She wonders why you left first. In that vacuum, curiosity transforms into tension, and tension becomes obsession. Machiavelli would have advised, "The rival who sees no threat opens his gates willingly." By allowing her to underestimate you, you are welcomed inside her defenses. By disappearing at the peak, you deny her closure and force her mind to chase you in your absence. This is not playing hard to get. It is demonstrating that you already have something greater than her approval: control over yourself. And in a woman's subconscious, the man who controls himself controls her. Here's the fourth manipulation you must master. Adapt to her world until she lowers her defenses, then strike with decisive masculinity when she least expects it. Most men fail because they only know how to play one role. They enter with arrogance, and she resists. Or they enter with neediness, and she dismisses. The true manipulator knows when to disappear into the environment like a shadow, listening, observing, reflecting her words back to her until she feels seen in a way no man has ever made her feel. In this stage, you are the chameleon, blending in, studying her values, her tone, her hidden insecurities. You let her speak. You let her reveal. She relaxes, convinced she is in control. And then, at the precise moment when her comfort turns into certainty, you break the pattern. You stop echoing, stop reflecting, and unleash the predator. You lean forward, lock your gaze, and cut through her certainty with one audacious move. Whether it's a line that hints at desire, a touch that commands, or a decision made without asking. This sudden switch from reflection to dominance ignites something primal inside her. Her logic cannot process it fast enough, but her body reacts. Comfort is shattered. Tension floods in. What once felt safe now feels dangerous, and danger is intoxicating. Machiavelli would have reminded you, a prince must be both the fox and the lion. The fox deceives, the lion conquers. Be only the fox and she grows bored. Be only the lion and she resists. But when you master both, the cunning shadow that disarms her and the predator that strikes with certainty, you create a cycle she cannot escape. The brilliance of this manipulation is that it feels natural to her. She believes she found a man who understands her and a man who overwhelms her, all in one body. That duality is what chains her desire. Because once a woman experiences both safety and danger in the same man, she will never look at another the same way. Here's the fifth manipulation you must command. Stop chasing her with words, and let silence, suggestion, and absence create the obsession for you. Most men ruin desire by over-explaining, by filling every gap, by trying to reassure her with constant presence. What they don't understand is that desire does not grow in comfort. It grows in uncertainty. When she cannot read you, when she wonders what you mean, when she feels you yet cannot fully have you, her mind works against her. She starts chasing clarity, and in chasing clarity, she starts chasing you. A single glance held 1 second too long, a pause before speaking, a phrase that could mean two things. These are not empty gestures. They are triggers. They plant questions in her mind that spiral long after you've left. What did he mean by that? Why didn't he react the way others do? Why do I want to see him again so badly? Every unanswered question ties her deeper to you. And here lies the Machiavellian truth. The unsaid holds more power than the declared. Once spoken, a word dies. Once revealed, a secret loses its weight. But what is withheld multiplies in value. The silence becomes a mirror where she projects her own fantasies, her own fears, her own desires. You don't have to say everything. You let her imagination do the work for you. This is why magnetic tension is not passive. It is an active weapon. You are not simply avoiding words. You are orchestrating her thoughts, forcing her to obsess in the spaces you leave open. A woman who lies awake replaying your silences is a woman already conquered. Understand this. Attraction is not born when she knows you, but when she doesn't fully know you. The mystery keeps her nervous system alive, her curiosity burning, her pulse quickening. And when she finally sees you again, that stored energy explodes into desire. The man who fills every silence dies in her mind. The man who leaves her restless in his absence becomes unforgettable. And once she has tasted that tension, no comfort from another man will ever compare. Here's the sixth manipulation you must never neglect. Control the shadow that walks ahead of you, your reputation. Long before you speak to a woman, she has already heard about you, seen you, or absorbed whispers of who you are supposed to be. That shadow of perception does half the work. It frames you before you even enter the room, and most men are blind to it. They let gossip, weak company, or careless actions define their aura, so when they arrive, they are already diminished. Machiavelli warned in Politics that a prince is judged less by his nature than by his reputation, for appearances govern the masses. The same law applies here. A woman does not only judge the man in front of her, but the story that surrounds him. If the shadow cast over your name is one of strength, ambition, and respect, she leans toward you without resistance. If it reeks of weakness or mediocrity, she turns away before you can even act. This is why your reputation is not decoration. It is armor and weapon. You must curate it ruthlessly. The way you carry yourself in public, the circles you move in, the alliances you keep, the whispers you allow or deny. Each detail adds or subtracts from your value in her subconscious. Attraction is not born in the moment. It is prepared by the myth that arrives before you. Think of it as an invisible crown. If others speak of you with respect, if your name carries weight, she meets you already intrigued, already primed to surrender space in her mind. But if your name carries nothing, you walk into the interaction already defeated. Understand this clearly. Your reputation is the silent manipulator. It works when you are absent. It seduces when you are silent. It opens doors without effort. The man who ignores it fights uphill. The man who masters it enters every room as if he were already chosen. Here's the seventh manipulation you must engrave into your blood. Never let her lead the rhythm. Control is not something you declare. It's something you breathe into every moment. From the first glance to the final decision, the frame must always be yours. When she wonders about you, it's because you chose silence. When she laughs, it's because you allowed the opening. When she feels desire, it's because you engineered the tension. The crown of control means this: her emotions rise and fall to the rhythm you set, not the other way around. Machiavelli would have ordered, "He who controls the tempo of events controls their outcome." In war, the general who dictates when the battle begins already holds victory. In desire, the man who dictates when to advance, when to retreat, and when to strike leaves her powerless to resist. Understand, control is not shouting orders, nor forcing dominance. It is subtle orchestration. You end the conversation first. You choose the time to return. You decide when closeness becomes distance, and when distance turns back into fire. To her, it feels natural, like destiny. But it is not destiny. It is design. This crown is invisible but undeniable. Once she senses that her emotions rise at your presence and ache in your absence, she no longer questions your value. She accepts it. She adjusts to it. She bends to it. The final mastery is simple yet absolute. You don't chase, you don't beg, you don't prove. You move with quiet authority, and she follows without realizing when the decision was made. That is the crown every man must wear, the silent seal of power that makes her unable to resist, unable to forget, unable to deny. Attraction is never about luck. It's about who dares to take control of the frame. Most men give away that control without even noticing. They talk too much. They surround themselves with weakness. They try to impress instead of letting her chase. That is why they lose. You've seen the difference. The man who masters silence plants himself inside her thoughts. The man who builds his circle with care multiplies his value before he even enters the room. The man who leaves at the peak of desire creates an absence that haunts her. And the man who controls when to adapt, when to strike, when to vanish, when to return, he becomes the rhythm she cannot escape. Machiavelli revealed that power is not in force, but in direction. And now you see it clearly. Attraction is not won by being more handsome, richer, or louder. It is won by the man who sets the tempo, who bends the perception, who turns every moment into a move that serves him. This is why you can never go back to who you were. Because from this point forward, you don't play in her world. She plays in yours. If this opened your eyes and you're serious about becoming the man who's in full control of his life, my book is now available. The Undeniable Man. Built to be chosen. It's a strategic guide for men who want to attract, lead, and dominate in their love life and beyond. Whether you're single or in a relationship, no fluff, no tricks, just pure, powerful strategy that will set you apart from 99% of men, and that you will actually use every day. The link is in the description. And if this video spoke to you, don't just keep your thoughts in your head. Write a comment, even just a few words. It helps you remember these lessons, and it might help someone else too. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this content, and share it with someone who, in your eyes, needs it right now. Just trust your instinct. We're all trying to get clearer, more solid inside. So let's build minds that don't break.